Over the last several years on the road, we found out that when we stop singing, God starts to speak. And we sat down one day and we thought about it, that worship isn't just a song or something that we do. It's a conversation that we open up with God. And the minute that we start to sing, His attention is towards us. And at the end of our song is this whole conversation waiting to happen. So out of those conversations and being in different cities across the country and seeing what God says in response of our worship, I began to write a new record called God Speak. And it's all about that place in worship where it becomes less and less about our song and more about the presence of God and what He's saying and what He's doing. So one day I sat down at the piano in my house and I just started playing a few chords and I began to get this title track for the record, that it's not just about what we can say and what we can sing, but sometimes and quite often God is singing back to us. As a worship leader, some of my favorite songwriters and artists are other worship leaders. And where I really see worship going in the church is less and less about a personality and more about the corporate sound that comes when we all worship together. And that is the heart of this EP, this record that's coming out. With our last Final Goodbye album, we really took the time to make moments of worship, even in a studio album, where people could put it in their car or whatever and have a moment of worship and release their song of praise, their prayer, whatever it is that they need to do between them and God, whatever word or language needs to come forth. We wanted to create a moment for that and spaces for that. So with this record, beyond the success and the natural and the spiritual, what we really want to accomplish is just adding to that corporate sound, that corporate thing that God is doing. If you can't sing this song in your church, then we didn't do it right, because we want these songs to be for your church. Back in 2012, we were leading worship at a small church in Alabama, and a brother came up to me and he said, "Get ready, you're going to start to hear the sound of heaven." And as a songwriter, I took that into my place of writing, and I said, "Okay, Lord, what are you saying? What are you saying?" And I was looking for words when God was really looking to give me a new sound. And so a lot of times when we sit down at the piano or the guitar, we just start to sing a melody, and whatever our heart feels at the moment, we'll sit down. And I've sat down with my pastor, Pastor Jeff Ferguson, and who's a longtime gospel writer, and we want to hear what God is saying in a melody, and then the words will come out of that place, because the melody and the lyric have to marry each other. And so out of that place sometimes of just getting in the presence of God as a songwriter and not really focusing on what you're going to say, but just singing the song of your hearts, because God has placed that song in us. That's a fresh approach that we've taken for songwriting, and one that we've implemented in this record. And I hope that in pursuit of worship, in pursuit of knowing God, that we don't get ahead of ourselves, but we take the time to let God speak to us.